Hey, what's up, guys? It's Art Book Addiction here, and we're here with a new artist journey video. So today we're going to be talking about switching mediums. Okay. Now this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do a permanent switch of mediums, right? But I wanted to talk about the importance of being able to jump to a new medium, try out a different way of painting or drawing, just to vary it up because in doing so, in learning from different disciplines, you will learn to become a better artist, right? Become more of a complete artist, right? I've talked about it before, but I recently went on vacation and I started using watercolor because I had a little portable watercolor kit with me, right? And through that, I found a lot of enjoyment and kind of like re-sparked my curiosity to learn a new medium, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I want you guys to be able to work in different mediums and see what you could gain from that, right? So that's what we talk about today. But before we start the video, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, check out my Prison Patreon if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a channel member, and join the Discord. Okay, and with that, let's get into it. So jumping mediums. Okay. When I was a much younger artist, I really enjoyed changing mediums a lot, right? I wouldn't do it all the time, but what I would do is after a while using one medium, I'd be like, okay, I want to try a new one. Okay, and I want to try a new one. And for me, it really helped kind of vary the way my brain thought about art, right? Because each medium you have to approach it differently, right? So for example, okay, normally I paint oil, right? Oil, that's my medium. I love it. That is my favorite medium, right? And watercolor, right? Oil paint and watercolor are like polar opposites, okay? Right? One oil paint is opaque, right? You could layer, you know what I mean? Takes a long time to dry. Okay, it's a medium that takes a long time to finish. Okay, watercolor, really quick. Okay, you can't layer. It's very transparent. It's a very transparent medium, and it is a very quick medium. Okay, it doesn't take very long to dry. It takes a little bit of time to dry, but compared to oil, it's like night and day. Okay, it's like waiting a couple days versus waiting 10 minutes. Okay, and the way you have to think about watercolor versus oil is very different. Okay, with oil, you want to go from dark to light because you can layer the light on top. Okay, with watercolor, you want to go from light to dark. Okay, so in that way, it's they are completely opposed to each other, right? And for a long time, okay, for the longest time, I was very inexperienced with watercolor. Okay, it was always a medium that I had trouble with, right? And only recently, okay, this late into the journey of my journey, have I really figured out watercolor, and the experience was wonderful. Okay, and it really brought me back to more of my student days, just trying different things, like hopping mediums, and it was I don't know, it really, because of the oil paint, right? When I paint with oil, it's just okay, it's just natural, right? I just do it, and then it's more of a action of repetition, right? But when I started doing watercolor again, right, or yeah, I started using it, and I'm like, I want to do that again, right? And then I did it again, right? And then I'm like, I want to do that more, right? And then I wanted to, so it felt like this natural curiosity with the medium, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting better. And I would go back and look at the little sketchbook, open it up and see oh yeah, this one's pretty good, right? And then I want to do it again, and I want to do it again, right? And I found that it was really refreshing because I could do it so quickly, right? And like it all stemmed from me just saying like, hey, fuck it, I want to try it out, you know, like I wanted to, because I had this watercolor kit that I've had for like so long. This little tiny Winsor Newton like watercolor kit. I've had it over for like maybe 7 years, right? Maybe less. I don't know, right? But I had it, and I never used it, right? I used it for like one painting that I was trying to paint with my grandpa, right? But then I just never touched it again. You know what I mean? And I assembled this little kit, watercolor kit. I was like, okay, what if I made this little kit? Then I could just paint on the go. I could go wherever I want. It's just like this little, it's like a little side pouch right here, right, where I could have all my little gear. And when I started using it, when I started painting with it, right, I realized that I'm like, hey, you know what, dude? I am better at watercolor than I initially thought, right? And then, you do one thing and I'm like, it's okay, right? And then I did the second thing, right? And like that started like to open up the brain, okay, right? And I felt so good about it, right? And I was like, yeah. Like, oh, that looks so good. And it looks so good in a way that I never really painted before, never really drew before, right? And then I did it again, and then that next one became better, and the next one became better, and then and then by the end of my my vacation, I ended up doing like 5 little pieces, right? And they were complete in a day, right? And to me, that was like mind blowing, because oil paintings, they take weeks, okay? And if they're bigger, months, okay? And it's such a like slow, like layering, tedious grind, right? Whereas watercolor, I'm just like, okay, next one, and then done, right? I can be finished within a couple hours, it's a really small, like it's like this big, like sketchbook, right? But I like the paintings I made, like I was really happy with, I can show you guys later, right? But I was really happy about it, and like it kept drawing me in more and more, and like I wanted to do more. I wanted to and it gave me ideas, like, because with an oil painting, when you make a painting, you have to like really commit to it, right? You have to commit a decent amount of time for it, right? So there's a lot of reference that I have, a lot of photos that I think would make great pieces, but that I have shelved because I thought it was not like, it's not worth the time of another like photo or piece of reference, right? But this way now, any reference that I would not use for a final painting, right? I could just do it in watercolor. I could just, it could be really, really quick, and like it was so exciting, and I'm like whoa, like I haven't felt that excitement for art in a long time. Like, it's not like I don't feel excited about art. It's that like, it's like an excitement that's like you're like, oh, you're trying out this thing. Oh, you're pretty good at it. Hey, you're like, you know what I mean? It's like a opening up of a new path, right? And for me, oil will always be my medium. Okay, like I know that, right? But with watercolor, now I could like augment my process, right? I could switch up my brain, it's like I could like change my loadout. You get what I'm saying, right? And now, when I do plein air, right? When you go out there to paint, right? Like on the spot, I would usually use oil, okay, which is still fine, because plein air with oil is okay, because as long as you have it small, you can still paint perfectly fine, right? And you can finish up later. But now with watercolor, I don't need to have like this entire giant kit. All of my stuff fits within a little tiny satchel right here, and I'm doing this because it's like one of the like across your chest thing, right? And it's so nice, right? And it feels wonderful to kind of have that like I'm inexperienced in this feeling. You know, I'm inexperienced, and then I'm becoming more experienced with it, right? As opposed to like, you know, being something and then like trying to achieve like, you know, a new level of mastery in a medium that you are already like really good at, right? You know, because like now you're starting from the bottom, you know, and you're like, oh, you learn real quick, right? And then like all the skills that you learn are brand new, right? And you get to like research, and you get to be like, hey, you know, like what are these techniques, what are these things, you know what I mean? So it's exciting, you know what I mean? And what I'm trying to tell you guys is that like sometimes in art you're gonna feel like, you know, kind of like not burnt out, but like, okay, like I know this, okay, like this is the thing I'm comfortable with, this is what I know, and like, you know, it so well that it's not like there's nothing new about it, right? You know, you can learn something new like every, like, you know, every couple pieces, and you're like, okay, now I like, or every piece I learn one thing new, right? Whereas opposed to you doing a new medium where you learn like 10 20 things during the process, and it's really exciting, and you're learning so much, and like it really reinvigorates your spirit for art, and you're like, whoa, like there's a whole new world in just this the switching of a medium, you know what I mean? So a lot of people on the Discord, right, like they're all digital, you know what I mean? Most of the people do digital. I know some people do some traditional stuff, but I could see a lot of you do digital, right? And I know that the transition from digital to traditional is very tough, right? Because you got to change the way your brain thinks, right? But the beauty of traditional, okay, right? Here are the advantages of digital and the you know, the cons of digital, right? Digital, you have unlimited tools, okay, right? You have so many tools, and you have so many options, and like it's you could zoom in, right? That's huge, okay? Like in real life you can't zoom in and shit, okay, right? All you can do is like look closer or step back away, but you can't zoom in and like perfect something, right? All you could do like and you can't undo, right? Whatever you mark you place, you have to either commit to it or erase it, right? Depending on what the medium is. Like watercolor, you're done. That's it. The mark is there. You can't undo it, right? You could kind of wipe it away, right? But like either way, the mark is put. Like ink, you know, you lay it down, you're done, dude. Okay, that mark is there. Like you could try to like white it out. It's like it's hard, but like maybe you could get it. But it's, you know, there's a permanence to it, right? And like I see with a lot of people digital, right, that they are incapable of leaping over, right? Now that doesn't happen with traditional into digital, because with traditional you have learned you've learned a skill that usually requires only a few tools, okay? Like charcoal pencil, you have, you know, stick of charcoal, maybe a kneaded eraser, and a little chamois, right? That's it, right? Oil, you have your paint, you have your brush, okay, of various sizes, okay? But in essence, you're only doing one thing, which is laying down marks, okay? Boop, 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 right? And there's a permanence to it, right? And then, you know, like watercolor, you know, I could just go on and on, but like at the end of the day, the tools for traditional are severely limited compared to digital, where you could do a million things, right? Now, I prefer traditional, and why is that? Okay, it's because like the biggest flaw of digital, okay, to me the biggest flaw of digital is that there is a lack of chaos. It is too orderly, okay, right? You could do things to help create chaos, right? But at the end of the day, it does not have the natural chaotic nature to it. And that natural chaos only comes from having something physically there, right? Where you can make a mistake that is completely unintentional, that can look good, okay, right? And I've also found that digital is very like, it's sterile, okay, it's very clean, right? And you want it to look clean, and you know, you could dirty it up, but it takes work to really dirty it up. When you're working traditionally, it's just, that's just dirt. You're trying to not be dirty, and it's just oh, you know, and like it just happens, right? And that's where you can have little miracles, okay, right? Where you could like work a piece, and like something happens, and you're like, whoa, how did I do that? You know, how did this happen, right? And the piece reveals itself to you. It has an air of each piece has an air of mystery behind it, right? That you are there to discover, okay? Whereas with digital, okay, like there is still like, you know, the mystery and all that stuff, but everything is intentional. You know what I mean? Everything is like, you put it there or you didn't put it there. You know what I mean? Now you could try different stuff, and like, you know, like try your best to create the environment to facilitate more chaos and randomness and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, it's not the same, because there's no texture, right? There's no, like, it's not like the screen doesn't have a canvas texture. Now you could put a canvas texture there, but it's not the same thing, you know. It doesn't like where you're like laying out stroke, and then like one area picks up paint more often than the other area, right? And then creating this like wait, I didn't mean to do that, right, effect. But you know, digital is, like I said, has all these tools. It's very fast, okay? It's very fast, right? Traditional is less fast, okay? Like that's just by the nature of it, right? It can be fast. You could, if you're good, then your speed will vary. You know what I mean? If you're good, your speed will like you know, like whatever you do traditionally, digitally you would do faster. Okay, that's just, you know, there's no dry time, right? There's so many tools. You could do something real quick, right? I could, like, whatever I could whip up in traditional, I could whip up way quicker digitally, right? But the sacrifice, okay, to me the sacrifice is the lack of the chaos, okay? And you want the chaos, okay? You want the ability to have the randomness, okay? The wait, you know, like something weird happens, you know? Something reveals itself to you, right? The mystery of it, like, allows one to be pulled in, okay? Whereas, like, you know, with digital, there is very little to no mystery to it. Everything you do, it wasn't like an act of the divine, you know. It was like I did this, you know. It's like very, I don't want to say robotic, but it's very like structured, you know. But that's the wonderful thing about traditional, right? And I know you guys, I know a lot of you probably have a problem doing traditional, okay? But I recommend it, guys, because digital is just one medium, okay? Digital is one of many mediums, okay? And if you lock yourself into one perspective, into one medium, right, you will never experience the joys of other mediums, right? And then your work will become more stale, okay? And as someone who has worked very heavily in both sides, okay, I have to say that learning multiple mediums has only improved my work overall, especially when I transfer those skills into digital, okay, right? So if you become a really good oil painter, your painting in digital will be so much better, okay? Like leagues above, and you'll have the tools to do something much quicker, and there's no dry time, right? And so I recommend you guys jump mediums, okay? If you're feeling a little stale, if you're feeling like oh, I'm feeling kind of like right now I'm feeling kind of stuck, you know, or I'm doing this grind that is just like, you know, like I'm still gonna do it, right? I'm still on the grind, but like it's gonna take a long time to learn like a new thing, have a new epiphany, right? Switch mediums, okay? It'll refreshen you up, it'll reprogram your brain, like, okay, I want to think in this direction now, right? And you know, take the time to like explore. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Okay, that's what it's all about. When you're in art, you don't want to just stick to one thing. You don't want to just paint the same thing over and over. You don't want to draw the same thing over and over. You know, like even when it comes to like styles or aesthetics, right? You want to try different aesthetics. You're like, you know, everyone like, you know, here's a problem with a lot of people who are self-taught. They have their one style. They have their one look. Okay, right? And they can't draw other things. You know what I mean? Right? Like the person who has super like realistic stuff can't do cartoons, right? The person who does cartoons can't do realistic stuff, right? So the ability to jump these things, the ability to change up these styles and mediums and approaches, right, will only improve you as an artist. You want to be a generalist. You want to be able to paint and draw anything from any medium, okay? And like because you've learned all these things, right? They will help each other, right? They will fill up the gaps in the knowledge, right? If you're bad at line work, okay, in digital, start using ink, okay? It's scary, it's permanent, right? But once you learn, if you get better at it, right, go back to digital, I guarantee you your line work is going to be silky smooth, okay? And then, you know, that undo button doesn't need to be pressed so much, right? Because you're just good at it, you know, right? And you know, if you're bad at painting, if you're bad at render, right? Maybe jump to a different thing. Maybe you're better at rendering in oil, you know, or acrylic. You know what I mean? I hate acrylic, by the way, but you know, I still tried it. You know what I mean? I don't like tempera, but I still tried it. You know what I mean? And maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I'll try it again. Maybe like, you know, I was inexperienced before, right? Like a lot of my problems with watercolor, I realize now, was because I was not as strong as I am now. You know what I mean? Now that I've like gotten good, like, you know, over the years, right? Once I switched over to watercolor for, you know, for this period of time, I realized that my skills were up, you know, and like I knew more and I was more careful, right? And now I could approach the medium correctly, right? And I knew, like, you know, from talking to other people who know watercolor, right? Like this is what you want to prioritize. These are the skills you want to learn, right? And that's another thing. You want to, like, when you're learning a new medium, you can ask other people who are familiar with that medium what those skills are, and then you will learn a skill that maybe you're like, whoa, I never knew about that. I never tried that. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, that's only a skill that is used primarily in that medium, right? But now that you have that skill, you could boom transfer, okay, right? And then, you know, ideally, what we all want to become is the hybrid art god, okay, where we've learned all the mediums, we know all the skills, we've done all the styles, you know, we know we could switch up the aesthetic to whatever we want, you know, and only then, you know, can you really say that you max it out, right? And you know what? I don't think anyone will ever max out everything completely, 100%, right? But it's in pursuit of that, right? That's the artist's journey, man, you know? And the artist's journey requires one to switch up your loadout, okay? You can't just stick with one weapon, you know? You gotta change different weapon, you know? Try it out, you know? Try out this kind of build, try out that kind of build, right? Like in Elden Ring, you know, you try out all these different builds, see what's cool, you know, and it's like, sometimes it's just fun to just switch it up, right? So, you know, if you want to really improve, switch it up. If you're feeling stale, change your medium, okay? If you're feeling like okay, I know this medium so well, but I feel like I'm not improving in the way that I want, change your medium, bro, okay? Right? And if you're sticking, okay, like changing mediums in traditional, that's fine, but when you're doing it in digital, right, then the digital to traditional switch up, that's a much bigger leap, right? But you guys should do it. You should do it because that's where you're gonna learn the most, okay? Right? The masters didn't have digital. The masters didn't have all these extra tools. They couldn't zoom in, right? And still they made masterpieces. Still they made pieces that, like, you know, shock you, like touch you to the core of your being, right? So there's something to it, right? So change up your medium, see the differences. And if you're doing traditional, right, all the time, maybe try digital, right? Maybe there's something cool that you can learn. And yeah, I know it's a program, I know it's hard, and Photoshop is like confusing, right? But at the end of the day, you know how to make a mark, right? All you need is a brush. All you need is a brush tool and just whoop, okay, whoop, and that's all you need, okay? And that's the beauty of traditional. All you could really do is just to make marks and make them as best as you can, make them correctly, right? So jump mediums, if you're doing digital, do traditional. If you're doing traditional, do digital, right? Try out all these different things, okay? Because it will keep your curiosity alive. It will keep the spark of your love of art alive, because it's all about learning, okay? And that's what really brings the love of art into, you know, into focus, right? So, you know, and like I'm experiencing this as well, you know, like I've been painting for so many years, right? And, you know, just right now, the switch of mediums has made me feel really refreshed, you know what I mean? So, you know, switch it up, guys, okay? Do something that you're uncomfortable with, right? You may be better than you think, okay? I think we could end the video here, guys. Please, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check out my prints and Patreon if you want to support the channel. Consider becoming a channel member and join that Discord, okay? All that bullshit. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot. All right, guys, I wanted to show you my little watercolor kit, right? Here is the bag that I use, right? You can see a little grumpy puffer right there, very nice, okay? This is a tiny Winsor Newton kit, right? Let me see if I could open it up for you guys. Oh, shit. But yeah, you can see that they have a very wide assortment of shit, there you go, of pigments. Yeah, this happens because it sticks to the top sometimes, right? But that's fine, that's okay, right? And you got a nice little white right there. You know, you just gotta, like, you know, work it to get the white again, right? But I used it a pretty good amount this trip, right? And I have this collapsible water cup, right, with some paper towels, right? You could do this little, you can, right, make it bigger, which is cool, right? Or have it squat. I always have it squat so it could lay flat in there, right? I had 2 brushes, right? These are Velvet Touch, okay, really, really nice. A gel white pen and a 0.5 micron, okay? And then this little sketchbook, right? And now I can show you the art that I did over this little vacation that I had, right? There's the first one, okay? That is the pier at Cocoa Beach in Florida, right? So that was my first one, and I did that, you know, on the spot, right? Here's my second one. You can see the leap, okay? You can see that, like, oh shit, now I'm starting to get it, you know what I mean? I really like this one. This one's got a really pleasant feeling to it. And then after one, this is my favorite one, right? So we went fishing, and we caught these kingfish, okay? These king mackerel. And I really, really like this one. I think this one was very successful. And really made me go like, okay, well, maybe I could really actually do this. You know what I mean? Right? And then we have, you know, a little landscape with you can see the cruise ship, right, that we were on. This is in the Virgin Islands, right, where the Epstein keeps his money, you know. And then this is a little piece I did at the airport, right? Yeah. So, you know, obviously probably not as good as my oil, but nice little pieces, right? Nice little pieces, and it's fun, you know what I mean? So there's my little kit, and it all fits in this little bag, right? Which is nice. And I could just walk around with that. So I could go anywhere and do a little bit of art, right? So try it out, guys.